Okay, good day everyone. Welcome for today's virtual lesson plan on the teaching techniques. I am Roxanne Gapad, one of your instructors for this session. I hope you're all ready to dive into some exciting learning. So today, we will learn about some techniques in teaching. One of these was about the technique which was called the 4Ms, in which this consists of four aspects that a teacher should examine before planning a lesson. The four M's are manageable, measurable, made first, and lastly, most important. Each aspect is simple, which makes this an easy strategy to implement yet extremely effective in classroom planning. By combining the four aspects, it ensures that the lesson is effective from the start to finish. So, to continue, may you let me read the objectives of our lesson? Okay, for our objectives, at the end of the lesson, the viewers are able to understand the 4M's technique. They would also know the importance of these techniques in teaching. Apply these techniques in real world, most especially in the field of teaching. So now, let's explain further for on these techniques. As we said earlier, these 4M's stand for manageable, measurable, made first, and lastly, most important. So to begin with, let us start with the first letter M, which is called the manageable. As with as it was stated there, manageable is, as with any lesson, it is important to decide before beginning if it is manageable for the class and for the time allotted. So, what does this mean? Okay, so let's tackle about this. This means that before we start a lesson, we must think first if does this lesson suit to our students, or could they catch up or understand our lesson for just 1 hour or just for today's session. So like those, before we start a lesson, we must think first our students if could they be able to understand your lesson on a just one session. Also, think if the topic you are discussing is really manageable for 1 hour or not. Don't explain a broad topic that must be explained for many hours or meetings. Instead of explaining a broad topic in one session, what if you divide it accordingly fra, from a specific? Yung the one that you know for them that they can understand in just 1 hour. So, take this as an example. For example, take a fifth grade class. If the objective of the class was to understand the Pythagorean theorem, it probably would not be a manageable lesson because the students have not learned enough about the square and triangles. If the objective was to learn about triangles, it would not be a manageable lesson because why? Because of the vast amount of information there is to learn about triangles. Part of this strategy is being able to predict how much practice the class needs with material in order to master new concepts. Instead of using the objective of learning about triangles for 3 weeks, it is more manageable for you to teach a little bit each day, just as it is easier for the class to understand what is expected of them each day. So, like that. So next, let's move on to the next letter M that is called measurable. These strategies suggest that the teachers create objectives in such a way that the outcomes can be measured at the end of the day. This let the teacher measure how well he or she achieved the objective based on how the students grasp the material. This also lets the teacher know if the class is ready to move on or needs more time on the material. So, for this process, it suggests that you may use an exit ticket or a short assessment at the end of the class to gauge the understanding of the material taught during the class. Though as a truth, one of the most prominent aspects of education was become the students' abilities to remember information given to them and recall the information on a test. If a student does not remember the information immediately after it is presented, the chances are very high that the information will not be accessible during the following assessments either. By making sure each objective is measurable, it allows the teachers to see how well the students can apply the information learned in order to use it as a basis for further learning. So, that one. Next, letter M is what we call the made first. This aspect addresses a common mistake amongst teachers, choosing an objective of a pre-planned activity. This suggests that teachers choose the objective before anything else. By doing this, it allows for teachers to base the activities around the material that needs to be learned, which is the most effective way to design a lesson. There, before you start a lesson, you must make first your objective. Why? This was to know, this was for you to plan the activities well. This is as if this would be your guide for the flow of your activity or your discussion so that you will know what what is your goal or what your students must be able to catch up after the lesson. So there. For the next letter M, the most important. This aspect is short and straightforward. Each objective should be designed to help students on their path to college. Only the most important information needs to be presented in order to leave room for other information that is considered most important as well. So, as we said earlier, if you are teaching, you must be direct to the point. Don't repeat what you are saying. Instead, select the most important one, and that is only the ones that are the only ones you should deliver to your students. Okay, like that. Okay, now let's test your understanding with a few quick evaluation questions. I'll ask the question and I want you to pause the video to think about your answer. Ready? Here's the first question. This aspect is short and straightforward. So, you may pause this video now and think about your answer. I will give you 5 seconds to think for your answer. Okay? The answer is most important. Okay. Very good. You got the correct answer. Next question. To measure if your students achieve your objective, what do you usually do? Okay. You may now think for your answer. Okay. Very good. The answer is exit ticket. So next question. What strategy was designed to help with planning that ensures academic achievement? Okay. You may now think for your answer. Okay. The answer is 4 M's. Okay. Very good. You got again the correct answer for this question. Okay. Next. This was the ones that needed most before you make a lesson. So what's this? Okay. You may think now for your answer. Okay. The answer is objectives. Okay. Very good. Next question. This is the necessary procedure in conducting a lesson. Oh, so what's this? Okay. Okay. The answer is checking the lesson if it is manageable for the allotted time. So there. Before we end this lesson, may we recap first for what does 4 M's means? Diba? As we said earlier, 4 M's is the manageable, measurable, made first, and most important. So there. So that's all for today, and goodbye. So thank you for listening, and God bless.